We exist to honor God by planting Christ-centered, Spirit-empowered, social, responsible churches and campus ministries. Where do we do this? In the nations, friend. God has called us to every nation in our generation. If you look at the mandate in Matthew, where Jesus says, go make disciples of all nations. The nations are living in our city. The nations are living on our doorstep. We have these diaspora communities in our cities from different nations that God has sent to us that we can reach out. But friends, God has given us a heart, not just for our local people, not just for one tribe, one language, but our hearts theologically should be shaped in a way that we start to be aware, and become intentional with people from other nations. That is what God called us. And as a South African ALT, we have over the years dreamt about how can we be more effective reaching the nations. And that's how we came up with Reach. Reach is our apostolic mandate that helps us that we effectively together pray together. We pray for the nations. We go to the nations with missions and church plant, and we also give towards the nations so we can plant in these nations. Over the years, we've seen an amazing generosity, and thank you to every one of you partnering. Thank you to every church that has actually embraced this and effectively, intentionally has actually applied this to your churches. We've got great systems. Thank you to Andrew and the team that has built the systems that actually can utilize all the data and also the financial pledging and giving and process that effectively so we can use those resources. So friends, over the next period of time, we as a LT came together and we're excited about something that's living in our hearts. Pastor Roger led us as a team, and we're dreaming about the next 16 years, like a 2040 vision. Imagine in the next 16 years, 2040, 20 campus ministries, new campus where we plant. 20 churches in the nations, Africa and Europe, 40 local churches that we're planting, new churches we're planting, and maybe that result in 20 new clusters. That is our heart, but that means we need 60 senior leaders that needs to be raised from our churches in the next 16 years. We need 20 campus leaders that needs to be raised. And friends, for that to happen, we need that human resource so we can go to the nations. We need to pray, which we are doing, and pray prayerfully. I hope you are holding the nations in front of your people, because theologically God has called every member, every born again believer. We take ownership of the nations. And that's why as leaders, we need to remind and uphold the beauty, and my house will be a house of prayer for the nations. God is calling our people to the nations. So we want to pray for those nations, but beyond just praying, we can't just pray. We have to do something. We go on 10-day missions. We go on, church planting, and God has called us to go to these nations. But praying and going is not enough. We also have to put the apostolic resources behind it, the finances. And that's where we give every member in our church, according to the biblical mandate, where they take responsibility. We give them the opportunity and the channel by which they can obey God, where we give them the opportunity that they can give financially beyond their tithes and offerings. They can give towards the nations. But once they give towards the nations, we have to keep the integrity of the program. We have to keep the integrity of the commitment that whatever they give towards Reach is not used locally. That money, congregational plants locally, that comes from a local budget. But anything beyond that city into another city, a new area, a new nation, that's what that money is used for. So friends, we want to empower you as the local church so that you can more effectively plan, get excited, and together with your cluster, let's dream reaching these nations. So here's the change we bring about, that as of up to now, 70% of the money that came in were given back to the local clusters. 30% were kept in the apostolic budget, which actually is the 10% normal admin fee, which will still be applicable. The other 20% was an emergency fund and some apostolic endeavors that we had to go, whenever we need to go to some nations where we're exploring things. What we now decided as ALT, we're going to release the other 20% back to every local church. So the local church will get 90% back of what you raise in your local church. That empowers you to raise the leaders, find the leaders, send them to assessment centers, send them to the school, raise them, and let's send them out to go to these nations. 90% of what you raise will come back to you. 10% is just the administration fee. So I hope this excites you. God has called us together. Now the fact that we have ownership of our finances, may we still think family, may we still think team, that we come together, cluster together, and dream together, so we go to these nations to plant churches. I pray that God will bless you as you uphold the nations. May we dream revelations where every tribe, every tongue will stand before the heavenly King one day. And we are participating in that vision today as we reach out to the nations. Let's all come together, pray together. Let's go together. And friends, let's give together. God bless you. Thank you for your faithfulness. And let's take the nations.